Hello and welcome, Inspired Podcast community. This is your new episode. My name is Caroline, and my today's guest is Lorraine Ball. And I am so happy she said yes to our interview. Welcome, and how are you doing today?
I'm fabulous. Thank you so much for having me. I think this is going to be fun.
It is, yes, it is already. It's fun. And I would love to introduce you to the audience first. So, you left corporate America to pursue your passion for helping small business owners succeed. As an entrepreneur, author, and host of the podcast More Than a Few Words, you share your expertise in marketing through presentations, college classes, and your podcast. Lorraine combines creative ideas, practical tips, and decades of experience to empower business owners. In your free time, you enjoy traveling and photography. Welcome to the Inspired Podcast, Lorraine Ball.
Thank you so much. It's so funny. Whenever you listen to your bio, you always think, wow, that sounds really, oh, that's me.
It is. And I recognize you. It is you, Lorraine Ball. And my first question to you is, what motivated you to leave corporate America and focus on helping small business owners?
So I had my dream job. I always wanted to be a vice president of marketing. I wanted to lead a big marketing team. And there is an expression that says, be careful what you wish for, you just might get it. And I did. And one of the things that I found was that the bureaucracy just moved very slowly. I could see the solution, and there were so many roadblocks all along the way. And I really got tired of just, guys, this will work. Just let me do it. This will work. And I finally thought, I'm just going to go do that. And so I left corporate. It was a good time to walk away and started initially trying to work with other managers and corporate execs on how to build high performance teams, how to create problem solving environments. And that's a really hard sell. And along the way, people kept saying, well, Lorraine, I know that's what you want to do, but you're good at marketing. Can you help me with mine? And so that was my side gig while I was trying to build this other business. And I woke up one day and I went, I have a marketing business. And so that became my primary focus. I've always loved working with small business owners. I think even in my corporate days when I had small business clients, there's a passion, there's an energy, there's just this sense of fun.
Oh, it is. Yes. And it seems like when you made this decision to leave corporate America, everything happened in an effortless way, right?
Oh, yeah, effortless. Uh,
Mhm.
high, um, I always said that right after you give birth to a baby, you don't really remember how challenging that process was, because if you did, no one would ever have more than one child. And I think, your brain kind of hides certain painful memories. I think the same is true about starting a business. 20 years after you start it, you're like, oh, yeah, that was easy. No, it wasn't. There's lots of challenges and move steps forward, steps back. But I think if you have a clear idea of what you want to accomplish, you can move in that direction.
Thank you so much for sharing. What I understood is that you grow into it,
Mhm.
and because when you grow into it, you don't recognize that it was a challenge before. You accept it, and yes, you step into that new person. I don't say role because it's not a role. It's more than that, right? It's a
Mhm.
calling, a purpose, a passion as well, and you have a gift and talent for that for sure. So let's have a look at my next question. What are some key marketing strategies you believe small businesses should prioritize in today's landscape?
So I believe that good marketing, the fundamentals of good marketing, have not changed in 50 years. The tools that we use, some of the approaches change, but if you don't get the foundation, if you don't get the basics, nothing else will work. So, number one, who is your customer? And it's not everybody. It is not everybody. Pick that center of your circle, the people you really want to work with, the people willing to pay a premium for your services. And if other people come along, I'm not saying don't work with them. I'm saying don't spend any energy trying to convince them that you need to do something different.
Oh, you disappeared now. Your sound, I think your sound is gone. Yeah, your sound is still gone. I don't hear you anymore. You No, it's not there. But it was so interesting. You talked about the fundamental, the basics. Yeah,
I can't
now
hear
you are
you at
back.
all. I can't
You
hear you.
cannot hear me?
No,
Oh, you cannot hear me, but I
I
can
don't
hear
know what
you
happened.
now. Let me see. We have
Um, hmm.
settings here. Do you hear me? No? Something happened with the connection? Oh, you cannot hear me. I think we have to, yeah. I can hear you. I can hear you. This is so funny.
Okay, I can keep answering the questions. And then if you just type your next question
Yes,
after you say it, we can keep going. Does that work for you?
yes, it works.
Okay. So, as I was saying, so you got to define your customer. The second thing is you really have to figure out who you're competing with. Who is your competitor? And it may not be exactly what you think. It may not be someone who does exactly what you do. If you don't know who you're competing against, you don't know what you need to say to look more attractive to your customer. And then the third thing is with every marketing campaign, what's your objective? How are you going to define success? Everybody wants more sales. But do you want more sales from more customers? Do you want repeat business? Do you want lots of new people to find out about you? Each one of those objectives is going to attract a different customer. It's going to make uh, it's going to drive different marketing choices. If you want to build relationships with your existing clients, well, email marketing is still an incredibly effective tool. Conversely, if you want to reach lots of new customers, social media, advertising might be better and more effective tools. So you really kind of have to pick and choose. Um, Also, as you're looking at social media, there are lots of choices. There's TikTok, there's Instagram, there's Facebook. How do you decide where you need to go? Well, part of the answer is where are your customers? And if you don't know who your customer is, I don't know how you make that choice.
Wow, you have to know your customer or you have to know them in order to make a choice which social media or marketing mean you choose. Okay, now I put
So
your
if you
next question in the chat. Okay, perfect.
uh, so I have one of my favorite memories is the show is much more structured today. But when I was first starting out, I would take my little iPhone, which at the time was much smaller because it was the earlier iPhones, and I would just go places. And if there was somebody that I was hanging out with, having a networking event with, I thought, well, this will be cool. I can use my phone. And the very first time I did that, I was at a conference, and the speaker, now I can't think of his name. Um, he is the founder of Social Media Explorer, and he was talking about going up to speakers at the end of their presentation and asking if you could interview them. So I did. I go running up to him and I'm like, hey, I was inspired. I loved what you said. I've got a brand new podcast. And I take out my phone and I don't know what to do because I hadn't used the recording device yet. And so here I am talking to somebody who was an industry leader, 15 years ago. And he looks at me and he stands there patiently. And then he just takes my phone out of my hand and he shows me how to do it. And we recorded the conversation. And the sound quality is not great, but that interview is still one of my very, very favorites, because it was so authentic and his advice was so appropriate.
Thank you so much for sharing. I have to type in the next question. Who was the best coach you ever had? Yes, something like that.
The very best. Well, first off, when I started my business, I looked around and I thought to myself, who's doing this? Who else is doing what I want to do and who's good at it? And I reached out to three different people. Two of them were friends. One was a woman I didn't really know very well. And I said, hey, I'm looking at starting this business. Would you consider spending some time with me talking about your business? And their generosity with their time was so valuable. And it has become something that I feel very strongly about. When someone approaches me, I will spend 30 minutes and have that conversation with them. But my very, very best coach was my sales coach, Matt Nettleton. And we're still really good friends to this day. The reason he was so effective for me is I couldn't blow smoke. A lot of coaches are very soft and they're very gentle and, oh, that's okay. If you didn't get that done, you can get it next week. He wouldn't put up with that with me. He's like, no, go back, do it. So I would make a sale. I'd raise my price. I'd call him up and I'd say, hey, I just sold this for this amount. And he's like, you couldn't get more? It was never good enough for him. And in a way, that was exactly what I needed. I needed him to be assertive in his demands of and expectations of me. And I think what's important there is you have to figure out, as you're looking for coaches, are they the right coach for me? They may be the perfect coach for three of my friends, but what I need is different than what they need.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. And I have the next question. Do you set goals or intentions? And what is one of your next projects?
Do I set goals and intentions? Yes. Actually, before I ever started the business, when I was still working in corporate, I wrote a business plan. And I shared that plan with my brother, who was a great salesman, with my husband, and with two or three of my friends who I thought were really smart. Maybe not in the field that I was in, but they were smart. And they were the kind of people who I knew would have good insight. And that habit stayed with me. Every year I would update the plan. At this point, I sold my agency after 19 years. And at this point, I'm doing more individual consulting. I don't have as hard and fast a business plan as I did, but I still have goals for what I want to do in the next year. Um, what I want my listenership to be on the podcast, what I want my revenue stream to be from my consulting. And one of my goals and intentions has been for a while to have my photographs in an exhibit. And I'm going to be, I'm going to have a number of pieces in an exhibit in November. So I'm really excited. And that was one of those intentions that I just always had out there. I read, in my notes kind of what I want to do. And this was something that was important to me.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing, and congratulations on the exhibit, of course. Now, my last question for you is, where can we find you? How can we support you? And do you have special offers or services?
Ah, the best place to find me, well, first off, you can listen to my podcast at morethanafewwords.com. You can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn. That's probably where I hang out most often.
Wow. Thank you so much. Please check out Lorraine, connect. And yeah, I would like to introduce you, of course, to, yes, she's amazing. She shares her wisdom and information. And now it's time for your last thoughts to the audience, please.
I think if you are thinking about starting a business, it's important to know that you're doing it because it's something that you're passionate about. And that's definitely number one. But then you need to look out beyond yourself and look into the market and ask yourself, does anybody else want this? It is really painful because some of the projects that I was really, really passionate about, nobody else wanted. And so you have to be able to let that go and find that place where what you love matches up with what the market wants.
Wow, so important. Your last message. Thank you so much for joining us today and for our interview. Yes, this was Lorraine Ball.
Me too.
Thank you
Me too.
and see you in the next episode.